All right, so again, here we are. We're solving. We could solve by factoring. Could solve this actually because this is 1 here. This is 1. We could solve by completing the square. We could solve by factoring. I don't think this is factorable, but we could. But the directions want us to do not completing the square, they want us to do the quadratic formula. So that means everything needs to be to one side. So then you get a squared minus 10a minus 3 equals 0. Doesn't matter what side, but everything needs to be to one side. Then you need to figure out what your terms are. So a equals 1, b equals negative 10, and c equals negative 3. The next thing is we've got to plug it into the quadratic formula. What is the quadratic formula? X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, it seems a little monotonous, but I like writing the formula out. You have to know it. You have to have it memorized. So for me, writing the formula is a way of memorizing it. And then I have to substitute in my values for a, b, and c. So then x equals negative 10 plus or minus b squared is negative 10 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 3 all over 2 times 1. Again, this is my process. Then I like to simplify. So then x equals 10 plus or minus. Okay, so under the square root, we've got negative 10 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 3. And then I get the square root of 112. And so then I always like to simplify it. So then 1 times 112. 2 goes into it, 56. 3 doesn't go into it. 4 goes into it 28 times. 5 doesn't go into it. 7 goes into it 16 times. Okay, so at this point I'm going to stop because I know 16 is going to be my largest perfect square. So the square root of 112 is the same thing as the square root of 16 and the square root of 7. What's the square root of 16? 4 root 7. So then what's under the square root simplifies to 4 root 7. And then that's all divided by 2. All right, so now once I get that, now I can simplify it. So then x equals 10 divided by 2 plus or minus 4 root 7 divided by 2. So x equals 5 plus or minus 2 root 7. And again, this is your exact answer. And some of you guys are like, well, but the calculator gives me a decimal, right? But the decimal is an approximation, and you have to be able to work with both. So we've been working with simplifying square roots, so you should be able to do that.